Hi everyone, Cendril here, and welcome back to another day in Stardew Valley. Spirits are very happy today. Well, maybe I need to go to the mines. Do you have a journal? Don't forget to check it from time to time. It's easy to forget that you've written something important down. We do have a journal. It'd be nice if I could make like my own notes in journal. Hi, Annie. I did some shopping this morning. I got this for you. An egg. Nice. Bet you could really use one of those. 4 omelets. Alright, let's go mining today. Did I leave all the... No, I didn't leave all the bombs. I should just leave these there. I really don't need them. Because I don't use them in the regular mine either, so... I wanted to break the... We can still break the geodes before we go. Today, I'm going to be talking about another series of games that I was asked about. Melons are ready. No, that's not the name of the game. I'm going to be talking about the Fable series. The Fable series, it's sad to me because I wanted to really enjoy the Fable series. For those of you that don't know, Fable was... The first Fable game was on the original Xbox. And the whole premise was to be a hero. But your decisions determined what kind of hero you were going to be. You know, were you going to be, you know, less hero and more villain, more tyrant? That you had the legendary blood of heroes in you. The heroes had pretty much all been wiped out, but you have the blood of heroes in you, and you could learn spells, use ranged weapons, and use melee weapons. And basically, depending on which one you used, you got EXP in that. So if you killed enemies with melee, you got melee experience and got better at melee. That's about all I'll go into for like the story and everything. This one died. What happened? It got struck by lightning? I don't have a lightning rod over here. Now that I think about it. Which is bad. Those are the star fruit, right? These are the star fruit? Maybe I should make one more lightning rod before we leave. Let's all go into the story just in case you want to check it out for yourself. I believe it was remade recently. Fable Anniversary. I think you can get it on, which is the first Fable game, I think, on Steam and the Xbox One, I think. Maybe I'm forgetting that. Maybe it was Xbox 360. Anyway, I liked the first Fable game. Was it perfect? No. Was it great? Probably not. I mean, but it was good, and I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was really neat being able to be the hero, and I could, you know, choose options that let me do that. Were there a lot of options? Was it Mass Effect? No, not by a long shot. But it was still neat that you got to make these choices, and you would get money, do quests. I think they had side quests in the first one. See, here's going to be the problem. I'm going to end up mixing the games because they all kind of blur together when it comes to some of the mechanics because they kept changing. Where's the lightning rod? Oh no, I don't need the battery pack. It makes a battery pack. Iron bar, refined quartz, batwing. Lightning rod. But there were 3 games in the Fable series. Fable 1, 2, and 3. There are parts of each one that I like. And there's some stuff that I don't like. One thing, they kept changing the combat system, and it was never very good. Combat got repetitive quickly, even though it was supposed to be action-based, because you didn't really have a lot of special moves or anything. That's why I liked spellcasting a lot, but spellcasting could be really broken depending on how you took it. The shame of the Fable series is what it didn't do compared to some of the like RPGs I talked about. Like some of the, you know, indie RPGs that I talked about. Was the one thing I said about Crystal Story to Crystal Story 2 and the Epic Battle Fantasy series. They got better with each game. And I can't necessarily say that about Fable. There were parts of the story I liked for each game, but the story wasn't always that engaging. There were parts of it that just really fell flat. You're supposed to be this hero on this quest. You know, the quest is different each time, but you're supposed to be this hero. And while you could feel strong, I chose the wrong thing. I wanted to choose town. While you can feel strong and, you know, become close to unstoppable, the story didn't really... The story fell flat in that sometimes. And it was sad. I actually haven't played any of the Fable games in years and years. I said the last one was 3. That was the 360, I believe. And there was supposed to be a Fable game, and it fell through, and then it was going to be made into like this mobile-type game, I think. Or like it was supposed to be made into a Kinect game, and then that fell through. So Fable's probably gone, sadly. And I say sadly because there is some potential there. You know, some of it was... Like I said, there were parts of it that were really good. I liked, you know, playing this, you know, legendary... You know, to play this here with legendary blood. You know, you are a legendary hero. Like I said, it just fell flat in a lot of ways, especially compared to other games like it. Like I said, I haven't played a Fable game in years. Buy a ticket to the desert. And I mean years and years. So, like, I'm forgetting certain plot points and things. I think I remember really liking, I think it was the second game. Had a I think was the one I really liked. Deluxe Speed Grow. Huh. That's really cool that's being sold. I can buy as much as I want. You know, I'm gonna buy some Deluxe Speed Grow just to have. We have money. Put that there. I bought Starfruit seeds, right? Sorry, it's been a few days. Did I buy beets? Even if I didn't, we're gonna have beets. And I'm going to buy a handful of Starfruit seeds. Well, 25, so it'd be 5 handfuls of Starfruit seeds. See, it's hard for me to talk about specifics of the Fable games. They were good. But they weren't... I don't think they lived up to what they could have been. Like, they had a lot of potential. There's a lot of potential in those games. And... it just isn't... It's never realized. Like I said, they fall flat a lot. I'll just take the stairs. How about that? Worth it! Because I don't know if that blows up the mushroom or not. So I'm not going to take any chances. Purple mushroom is precious. Because They make life elixirs. I'm gonna go ahead and grab this gold ore. Might as well. It's right there. Boy, a lot of those enemies right off the bat, huh? Eat this tortilla. Trying to think of some specifics of the Fable games. They were more mature, but the premise, I always liked the premise of being this hero. But I just remember there were points where the story just did not go anywhere, it felt like. Which is a shame. But I also remember there being, you know, parts that I did enjoy. To be honest, if I went back and looked at Fable today, it probably doesn't even hold up that well. The combat was pretty monotonous, other than, you know, you just swing your sword. There wasn't, you swing, there's guard, you shoot with a ranged weapon. The only really variety, and you could charge up, I think, a power attack, but the only real variety you got in combat was if you tried out different spells. Which is why I really liked the spells. Some of the spells were really cool. Like, I remember in one of the games there was a spell where you summoned blades and then shoot them at an enemy. Like Mystic Blades. That was really cool. There was a time stop one, or like slow down time, which made combat a joke once you were really good with it, once you had it leveled up. Because it slowed time down to a crawl, so you could like just run up and beat down an enemy with like a sword. There wasn't a lot of different weapons, but the weapons did look different, which was neat. You had different outfits that you could wear. Just overall, there wasn't, wasn't as much from those games as it would. Like, the first game was good for what it did. And it's like, okay, here's the second game. It's gonna really improve. And while some stuff did improve, some of it felt like they took a step back. That's about all I have to say about the Fable series. It's good, but it's not great how I felt it could be. Like, I felt like it could have been great. I really do. I think it could have been a great series. A straight up iridium bar. That's awesome. Happy about that. Anyway, that's about all I have to say about Fable. I think it could have been a lot better. And it's a shame that the series, it's pretty much dead now. That not more came of it, because I think it had some potential. And I think they were trying to go for some grandiose storyline over the characters, because like this one character keeps reappearing in between all the games. But I didn't like her very much at all, so that fell flat too. The endings were usually really sad as well. And what I mean by that is, at least the games that I'm thinking, the series that I'm thinking of, you always had a choice. Because the whole thing about the game, and I understand what the game wanted to go for, but it didn't do it super well. The thing about the game, all throughout the game, is that your choices shape things. Because you're a hero. So your choices have big consequences, for better or worse. And so some of the so the endings were, you have a choice. You could choose to do this, you could choose to do this, you could choose to do this. And they were really hard choices. Sometimes, I think in the first one, it was just a choice between two different things. And it wasn't a hard choice for me. But for some people, maybe it would have been. But there's usually a really big choice. And I think the second game and the third game, I don't really remember the choice there. Your choice happened in like this separate section that should have been fleshed out into a whole nother like 20 hours of gameplay, because that would have been awesome. But again, I'm trying not to spoil anything for those of you that want to check out the Fable series. Check it out, because I think it is worth you know, looking at, especially if you can get it cheap. Like I said, I think there's like some special anniversary edition of like the first game that you can find. I think it's on Steam, maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. I just remember seeing something about that on there. I'm just gonna follow the tracks here. Oh, there's no instant way down. That's sad. There we go. Just got these bombs quicker than I thought I would. In an attempt to do that, just find ways down. This one looks like there'll be a ladder at the end. So yeah, that's what I have to say about the Fable series. And some of the choices were hard. Like I remember one. I think it was the second game. That it was a really tough choice. And the third game really wanted to push that. Like, your choices matter. But it just didn't feel right. It just the way they did it just didn't feel really great. There's still a slime here. It's kind of hard to explain if you don't know the series. If you do know the series, maybe you're getting what I'm talking about. It feels kind of forced in a way. And because of some of the mechanics in the third one, at the end, your choices really are, you're either a super bad guy or you're a super good guy. Because you can... Sweet, another straight up iridium bar. Because your choices, you can rig in your favor either way just because of the mechanics. Especially after the first time. Like, if you know what's coming up, you can easily make it to where you could get which ending you want. You could be super evil or really nice. And of course, you probably know which way I chose. Spoilers, I chose to be, you know, very benevolent. It just felt that they could have been so much more. Like, the bones were there to be a long-lasting series that made you think about your choices, that you know, that made you think about your choices, and you were a hero or villain if you wanted to be a villain. But it just didn't really come to pass, and it's sad because, like I said, there's some good stuff in there. Just combat's repetitive. The story's hit or miss at points. I like how they did try to tie the games together. I really did like that. I like when series do that. They either bring back characters from you know, when sequels bring back characters, or that they just make references to other games. But especially if it's a series, if there's, you know, characters that are brought back, if there are, you know, some decisions that maybe you may. I mean, it's hard to do that in games, but. When a game just brings characters back, brings concepts back that you're familiar with from previous in the series, it's like, oh, that's still around? You know, or, man, that character's still around, that's cool. Or, that character's still around, why are you still around? You know, just depending on the character. I love it when games do that, though, when there's nods to the other games in the series. It feels like they're connected, that you're still in this world. And that's always a really great feeling, especially when it's done extremely well. Eat carrot. I'm gonna go ahead and leave the mine. Okay. Store things. Okay, first off, let's take our tools back. Take the gold ore. The stone can honestly stay. We have too much of that as it is. The bombs and the life elixir can stay here. I never use the life elixir because I have a ton of food on me, but hey, it pays to be prepared. Keep the purple mushroom here. Everything else can come back with me. And the glow ring. The glow ring can stay here. Everything else, I'll take. So if you're a fan or you just know about the Fable series, let me know in the comments what you think. And it could just be, you know, something really simple, that I liked it, I didn't like it. If it's a super long paragraph, feel free to write that. I'll never discourage that, but I probably won't comment on it. Just because that'd be too much to comment on. But I will read it. I will say that I will read it. Because I do read all my comments. Just sometimes I don't respond to them either because they're super lengthy and it would take way too much time to respond to it. But if you take the time to write it, I will definitely read it. I feel like as a Let's Player, you deserve at least that much. And sometimes I do respond, even if it's with just a simple, you know, I agree, or, you know, even if it's really simple. Sometimes I do. I always try to respond, but sometimes it's just too much. But I'm always thankful for comments. I always am. That I have a community that listens and participates. That makes all of you awesome. It really does. Oops, wrong thing. Coal! I wanted coal. That. Store diamond. I'm gonna keep the emerald on me. I'm gonna try giving the emerald to the dwarf. Just to see if it's like cliche, and because it's dwarf, it likes gems and metals. If this doesn't work, I might try to give like an iron bar or something. I mean, it's a dwarf, which is that's probably asleep. Hey, I really love this stuff. You can find great things in the mines. Ah, I was right. Rain. It's almost mythical to us. Some of us dwarfs live our entire lives without ever experiencing it. Oh, wow. That's crazy. Oh, enjoy the rain. Anyway, like I said, that's about all I got for the Fable series. I wish it was better. That pretty much sums up my my thoughts, because there's so much I wanted to really like about it. I shall eat the corn anyway. I was going to turn it into a tortilla, but whatever. I think it had a lot of potential, and it just didn't, never quite reached how good I thought it could be. Next time, I'll be talking about some different type of games, and I think that conversation will be a lot of fun, because there's really two different ways I feel about them, which is very interesting. I think so, anyway. You can let me know tomorrow, or in a couple of minutes if you're watching these in bulk, you know, and you just have this going on in a playlist. If you're watching these as they come out, until tomorrow, I'm Cendril. Remember to shoot for the stars, and take care, everyone.